Ladies and gentlemen, KageKaze here, bringing you another Diablo 3 Crafting Corner. Crafting Corner, you might be asking, what's that? Well, it's something I did back when Diablo 3 first released. I was keeping track of progress of the crafters to kind of see how they leveled with your character as I was doing things in kind of a self-found mode. And so I wanted to show off where the crafters were and kind of evaluate crafting to see if it was worth the time. Of course, back then, it ended up not really being worth much. But nowadays, for anyone that may have skipped out on the crafting, it is definitely worth it now, especially with Reaper of Souls out and Loot 2.0, because everything you craft, it's a smart drop. It's going to be tailored to your character, so it's going to be a place that you're going to find some of the best upgrades as you're going along. Of course, some of the better items are always drops, especially when it comes to new legendaries. So with Reaper of Souls comes a whole new crafter. We have the Mystic, and she's unlocked partway through Act 5. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to record this, as I have with the past crafting corners, because you can only ever upgrade your crafters once, and then every single character you have has that crafter at the higher level. So what you're seeing here with this little setup that she's got with her cart and all her potions, you're only ever going to see this once, and then it's gone. So this is kind of a chronicle, I suppose, of the different stages that the Mystic will be in as she levels. And we can kind of take a look at what it will take to level her up. So to begin with, you can see that we are in Act 1, so much like the other vendors, she is available, much like Covetous Shin is after he gets unlocked. So you'll have to wait until the cart moves, of course, to get to her, just like Shin. But she's got her spot here, and you can get to her fairly early game. Going into her menu here, we can see the only two options she really has is to enchant and the Transmogrify, as well, of course, to train. Enchanting items will allow you to switch the property out, one property of any weapon or armor or whatever, and trade it for a new one. And of course, it'll give you a list, and we'll see as we go. Unfortunately, at level 1, you really can't do anything. You can see that for a weapon, if we try to put something in, you need to be at least level 2 to enchant a weapon. And then you have to level up to enchant anything else. Gloves are level 7. Rings are level 11. Shoulders.
No way.
Oh, okay, that's a legacy item. Let's put in another shoulder. Level 5 for shoulders. So yeah, these are old shoulders from the old patch. So I won't be able to enchant that. Let's look at Helm, level 12. We can look at armor, being level 10. Amulets are level 9. Bracers are 6. Offhands are level 3. Or at least shields. I can't speak for the other offhands, unfortunately. Boots at level 4. Leggings at 12. Belts at 8. So you can see various levels. You're going to have to unlock each one as you go. Transmogrify is a wonderful system that does start off right away. You can use this from level 1. So for anyone that might be new to Diablo, hasn't played it, and has the Mystic, or maybe you have a low level character and you want to see what you can look like here, you have to at least get through Act 5. So you're not going to probably have her at level 1 by the time you get her unlocked. You're not going to have her on a level 1 character, but here we can see you can change the look of any weapon or armor. And you do have some things unlocked right away at level 1. So I've put in this one-handed mace, and it looks like I can make this mace look like whatever I want. An axe, a sword, a club. Now the big thing here, this surprises me in a way. I figured it would be each weapon, like a sword can only look like a sword. But the important thing that they said in a blue post once is that the item has to have the same swing animation type. So if it's completely different, like a spear, you'll notice the spears aren't listed here. So you won't be able to do that. But clubs, swords, and axes all have the same animation type. You can see I can change it to whatever I want. You'll also notice that the affix of whatever magical properties on it stick. So I can make it look like a basic sword or a basic axe, and it's still going to have the blood dripping. Now, anyone that found Legendaries prior to Reaper of Souls release, but after patch 2.0.1, will get any Legendary skins that they've unlocked. And you can see early on, these transmogs are only 500 gold. Fairly cheap. If you're leveling a new character, you're going to be able to afford that on his own easily. Now, the Legendaries, on the other hand, that's 50,000 gold. But you can see that you can change whatever you want, make it look like a legendary. And there is Ginzaniku. So it will even tell you what the legendary is here, which is kind of nice, as well as the tier of item you're looking at. You can look at various items here. You can just kind of show off what you get at the early levels. You can see the basic gloves. There's actually a pretty good selection even here at the beginning, it looks like. Look at that, even those gloves there. Different types. Even set items are in here. So yes, you can get set items in transmogrification. Now legacy items apparently can be transmogged, they just can't be enchanted. So you see here, we'll just go ahead and go through very quickly the looks of the shoulders here on the Barbarian. And this is great because some of these items actually look pretty nice. You know, some you may not notice right away, but as you go through these options, you can actually start creating this individual look for your character. Now, what I'm looking at here and what I'm seeing is that each item appears to take on the color of the dye I currently have equipped. So I could put dye on my helmet for a different dye. Like this is the Mariner's dye. If we look at all these helmets, you'll see that it comes up with that same dye color. So in order to change the color appearance of your transmog, you don't have to worry about dyeing any special items to see it. You just dye the helmet or a piece of armor that you already have and put it on. And for those interested, there is a slight difference here with Leorics, and the dyes are on Legendaries now. For those who haven't been keeping up, you can dye Legendaries now. Certain Legendaries, I believe. I don't think all of them have it, but it is nice to see that some do. For those interested, the Broken Crown and Leoric's Crown are slightly different. You'll see it's a slightly bent and broken there. So it's nice to see there's a slight difference there. They're the same price, though. So do you want a Broken Crown or do you want a Pristine Crown? You know, what do you want there? All right, we'll look at a couple more here. Plenty of unique sets here for the armor. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly show these off. You can see some are obviously going to have a similar texture to them. Let's just see if there's anything there. It looks like the difference is in color here. And it looks like in this case, these might not be dyeable sets. So these might only be available in that type of color. Yeah, I see here the Cinder Coat and Blackthorn Surcoat have the same texture but different colors. So there might be some things you're not going to be able to dye, so you're going to have to find that specific type of item in order to get the look that you want. And this is all level 1. Keep in mind, I mean, there's a pretty nice diversity here already for level 1. Alright, and what I'm going to show off now is I'm going to grab my books for transmogrification, and I'll go ahead and show you some of the Collector's Edition items. Alright, for those of you who got the Digital Deluxe or the Collector's Edition, you have these two books that you would have gotten in your little mail system in the lower left-hand corner. The Arma Mortis and the Arma Hereticorum. Now, the Hereticorum is the plans for the unique helms, the Infernal, the Angelic, and the Dead. So we'll go ahead and right-click on that to add it. So you get the new transmog pop up at the top. Now, whenever you get a new legendary, you'll usually see this at the top. And one thing I can suggest to anyone that's looking for transmog recipes, especially if you're playing in a group, whoever finds a legendary item, you can share it with other people in your party. Just drop it on the ground, let them pick it up, and they will also get the transmog recipe. You might want to do this with people you trust, though, because if it's a legendary and they want it, they may skedaddle with it. But this is a great way for people to unlock transmogs for an item that they themselves may not have found, but will have access to. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take a look at the recipes this gives us. And what's nice is that you can see that it does come with a little star on top of it to let you know these are the special recipes. They cost just as much as a legendary transmog. And I'm really glad to see this, because if you put these in here on a mystic that's at maximum level, it might be hard to find them. So now we can see here's the Infernal Helm. Unfortunately, it does have that very blue color on it right now, but it does have the floating red stones and the flames on it, which is really cool. Looking at the Hallowed Helm. Oh, it looks like they go away when you select it. Okay, so it lets you know what's new after you've come back. That's interesting. So you can lose these in the shuffle, so you'd have to know which ones they are. Alright, this one's the Hallowed Helm. So you can see you've got a glow in the center there. It's got an angelic glow all around it. Nice look. Alright, and we will look at the Death Mask. There you go. Ooh, very nice effect coming from the eyes. There you go. That is the Death Mask. Now, I won't be able to show all of these off right now. This is the Arma Mortis. There's about, I believe, 6 or 7 weapons that can, transmog skins that you can get out of this. So I'll go ahead and use that. So you can see at the top, it's going to give you a quick look at all of them. And I believe every class one-hander has something specific for it if you got this. I'll just let it cycle through so you can kind of see here. And again, this is only one-hander, so unfortunately it doesn't look like there were any two-handers that I could see that were unlocked through this system. But they did include one-handers, offhands. There is flails for the Crusader there. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of them. We're going to go ahead and go back and take a look at our one-hands. We can see that we have this Life Bane. So these are weapons that are going to be modeled after Malthael and the aspect of death. So I'm going to look at, if I look at daggers, we can see that daggers have a similar look to javelins. So they share animations. It looks like there is nothing there for the dagger though. Go ahead and look at a two-handed sword. Nope, I was incorrect. So they do have two-handed weapons. Now this one is nice. You get a giant scythe with the mighty weapons here, or any two-hander in general. So there's the standard sword. You can see the Sultan Blinding Sand here. This was a weapon I didn't find. Once again, a friend dropped it for me. And then this is the one of death. Two-handed hammers have a different look to them. And it doesn't look like there is a transmog. So only certain one-handers. I think class weapons in general are the ones that really got them. There is a comprehensive list out there by Blizzard. I don't have it in front of me, so excuse me that I don't have that information available to you and that I gave you a little bit of false information there while looking at that. All right, we spent a lot of time on that, so what we're going to do is we're going to go and take a look at what it takes to level her up. We're at level 1 right now. And you can see that level 2 is going to give us 21 new Transmogrify unlocks and allow us to unlock the weapon. As you see, at level 1, it only takes 1,000 gold, so no materials needed. We're going to go ahead and hit that. And already she's upgraded. It only took one shot to bring her up to level 2. You didn't have to hit the button multiple times, so that's good to see. We look at the next level, and we can see we're going to get 14 additional unlocks, and then offhands can be enchanted. But now that we're at level 2, we can see that level 3 is going to take 5,000 gold. So still fairly cheap at this point. I'm going to take a quick look at the transmogs to see how many things have unlocked at this point. You can see there are now several different options. There's double the options here. Looking at the axes, a few more options there. The legendaries are available as you find them, so you don't have to worry about unlocking different tiers to get those. So now I'm going to go ahead and show off a little bit of the enchanting system since I can now enchant a weapon. So you put your weapon up here, and you can get your pick of any one of the stats on here, including the secondaries, and change them. Now keep in mind, if you select a primary, you will roll from a set of primaries. If you select a secondary, you will roll from a set of secondaries. You can't trade a secondary for a primary, and vice versa. The important thing here, too, is to know what you can roll on each one of these stats. If you're not sure, you don't want to just pick, because if I just pick one, you'll see I have to, if I pick this, I have to say replace property. If I pick this, I'm going to lose that money, and that stat is going to be locked. The moment I pick a stat, it locks immediately. I can never change any other stat. It will have to be the one in this slot. So if I re-roll this and get something else, I can only ever re-roll what was in this slot. That's the important thing. But I want to know what I can roll here. And you might think, well, the only way to know is to hit this. No, you've got the question marks. This is the important part. So if I hit display possible properties, I can click this and you can see exactly what you're getting out of this. So here in the secondary, as I said, you can only ever get secondaries. So what can this give me? This can give me monster kills grants experience. It can give me a chance to fear, stun, blind, freeze, chill, slow, mobilize, and knockback. I can also get ignore durability loss. And of course the coveted level requirement reduction. That's the only things I can get on this slot. And I can go to a primary slot and see all the different changes here. We can see I can get damage, cold damage, fire, lightning, all the different elements, a damage percentage, area damage is a primary, elite damage is a primary, cooldown on skills, resource costs, all of that. You can also roll sockets. So while there isn't a way to guarantee a socket on an item, if you really want to socket an item, you can modify it here, enchant it, to get a possible socket roll. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this attack speed by 3%. I'd like to show you that even though this is another primary, the attack speed, notice how the list of affixes has changed. The reason why this one has so much more is because this is the raw damage stat. It can roll any other damage stat. But because I already have a damage stat on the weapons, these cannot be damage stats. It can be a damage percentage, it can be strength, it can be a whole bunch of stuff, but it can't be another one of these plus damages. So you can't make something that's doubled up on this. So we're going to go to the attack speed, see what we can get. We get sockets, we can get a bleed chance, resource cost reduction, cooldown, damage against elites. As we're looking at this, I do want to point out, when you're considering changing stats on a weapon, these little diamonds here by each stat will indicate whether or not, if we look here, the stats on the bottom where it says stat changes if equipped, the numbers there are directly affected by whatever has a diamond that's dull. The diamond that is lit up, for example, the increased revenge damage, the monster kills grant, and increased gold and health pickup, those don't count for the stats at the bottom. This is important because things such as physical skills do % more, cold skills do % more, or even specific skills such as cleave or rend, those do not count for the stats at the bottom. And in general, if you're going to see a damage loss, like this says 0.4% damage loss, if this had a plus 10% damage to a skill, and I use that skill a lot, it was a primary skill for my major source of damage, it would be an upgrade in damage, even though you can't see it. So you have to kind of pay attention to these items with diamonds. And that's going to be very important as you move forward trying to transmogrify or trying to enchant items. So we're going to go into attacks. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to pick this. You can see it does have a requirement cost here. It takes me some exquisite, iridescent tear, and demonic essence because of the level of the item, and 17,000 gold. So I'll go ahead and hit that, and it lets you know that it will bind to the account. Once you enchant something, you can never trade it. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK, and it picks 2 random stats that I can change it to. I say 2 because one of these is always the original property, and you can see I mouse over it. That's what it was. Anytime you roll on it, you will always have that option, so you don't have to worry about getting something you don't want. We can see at this point, I got area damage on hit and damage against elites. Area damage on hit is another one of those that has the glowing gem on it that will not count towards the damage at the bottom. I believe damage against elites also doesn't. We'll go ahead and pick that to show it off. I've already paid the price. I don't have to pay it again. The slot is now locked. I'm going to go ahead and pick what I want, select property. There we go. It has been replaced. You can see that's the only option now. If I mouse over it, you'll notice that the icon changed from a diamond to the little arrows to indicate that's what's been changed. It's been swapped out. You can only ever change that. So damage against elites. I can click on this, see all the possibilities yet again, and we'll see that it looks like the price has gone up a little bit, but I can go ahead and hit that, and there we go. I have another set. So even though this is everything that can roll on that slot, you can only ever pick from 2 of them plus the original property. So at this point, okay, I got damage, area damage again, and I got resource reduction. Okay, I really don't care for either one. I'll just go ahead and pick this again. The downside is, if you pick the original property, you still paid the money. If I select property, you have to pay the money to see the list. If you don't pay the money, you just can't see it. So even if you pick the original property, you have still paid that money. That's important on this. Alright, we're going to go ahead and train up to level 3, and we'll take a look at the new changes. Fancier and fancier. New Transmogrify options. We can now enchant offhand. You see, there it is. All the options that you can get for each slot. including secondaries. So if you're ever curious about what an item can roll, this is a good way to look at it. You don't have to spend money to look at these. You can look at them at any point as long as you've got an item that you're curious about. Let's just kind of look at, since this was the final item that you can transmogrify, we'll go ahead and take a look at the helmets and some of the things you can get here. Strength, armor, regeneration, crit chance, life on hit. And here's where you start to see the skills. Only certain slots of weapons can give you bonuses to skills. So when I looked at the weapon, I failed to realize that those don't have it. Helmets, I believe, armor, belts, and pants. All of these right here, basically, all of these can have it, but what they can have is a little bit different. Like, for example, if we look at boots, and look at this. The big thing about boots is that you'll notice your primary abilities, or your secondary abilities, Ancient Spear, Seismic Slam, Whirlwind, are the ones that are on this. So boots can only get spinders. Pants get generators. And belts get generators, so bash, frenzy, cleave. If you're looking to upgrade your primary skill that generates you a resource, you want to look at your pants, you want to look at your belt. So, you see belts also give you cleave, weapon throw, frenzy, bash. Generators, pants, belt, spinders, boots, helmet. For additional damage, you will want to look at your bracers. Your bracers are the ones that will give you damage to particular types of elements. Lightning, fire, cold, all of that. Amulets can also do this. So if you're looking to maximize particular spinders, you want to consider what type of skill you're using, what type of rune you like. And then you can upgrade the armor pieces to give you more damage for that particular skill, and then your bracer and your amulet to give you additional elemental damage based on what it is you're trying to maximize. So those are some key points to transmogrification and what you want to look at when you're looking to upgrade your gear. Alright, looking at level 4, this costs us 10,000. We'll get 26 new Transmogrify and the boots. Fancy digs. Alright, looking at level 5. This will cost another 10,000. And so I'll go ahead and add this up so you can get an idea of what it's going to cost you to bring her up to speed. Because a lot of people, they're going to already want to get her up to speed right away. They've already got their 60s. They want to get into 70 territory and be able to transmog. Moving into level 5 gets us 13 new options and shoulders. You get an achievement for hitting the halfway point, or it's no longer the halfway point. All of the crafters have been increased to level 12 with the expansion. So you only get 2 new levels, but those levels can be very important. Alright. Moving on to level 6 is another 10,000. So it's keeping it simple. I believe what they wanted to make sure is that you can get through these fairly quickly, even on low-level characters, because enchanting is a very important part of Loot 2.0. Being able to trade out unwanted properties for new ones is a big thing, especially with the removal of the auction house, that they wanted to make sure they give you the option to make the character the way you want it. If you're looking for critical hit chance, critical damage, specific stats, that's where this comes into play. Alright, moving on to level 7. Once again, it's 10,000. 17 new unlocks. Gloves can be enchanted. Now, I'll be honest, between these higher level tiers, I don't see a lot of differences, so I'm not sure if there's a lot of changes here, at least on this Artisan the Mystic. Very subtle, it would appear, but there are changes. Alright, 19 new unlocks and belts can be enchanted. This turns into level 8, and this time we get 20,000. Alright, level 9 is where it starts to pick up even more, 30,000 this time around. 17 new unlocks, and the amulet. Alright, now you can definitely see some major changes. The carpet rolling out, of course these bushes got added as well. Everything looks very nice here. Not too much to look at. I mean, obviously I can't show you all the transmogrifications, and it would just take way too much time to do that. In fact, I've probably spent way too much time on a lot of different subjects here, but again, I wanted to chronicle what's here and give out a little bit of information. So when we go into level 10, so level 10 being up to the end game for vanilla Diablo, we can see that we have 40,000 for this final rank. It hasn't taken any materials, by the way, no crafting materials at all. It's just been gold. So this is going to be probably the quickest and easiest of all of the crafters to get up. Now with this final tier, we unlock a lot. So we unlock all the level 60 gear. 46 new transmogrification options. And it says chest armor again. Alright, we'll go ahead and update to level 10. 40,000 gold. And another achievement for hitting the max level for vanilla. Alright, now we're moving into Reaper of Souls territory. We're going into Train here. You can see we have 35 new transmogrification unlocks to represent all of the different options that you have for Reaper of Souls. You can also update your ring. This is another 40,000, but it also takes one death breath right here. This is the crafting material that you will find in Reaper. So you will not see this until you hit level 61. It cannot drop at 60, at least not from what I've seen. So you have to at least get up to 61 before this starts dropping. There is a very specific drop chance for Death's Breath. It will drop off elites, and the percentage chance is based on difficulty. Every single difficulty has a difference, all the way up to 77%, I believe, on Torment 6. I will go ahead and provide on the screen the exact percentages as they were presented by Blizzard in a blue post. Alright, since I have a few of these ready, I'm going to go ahead and go up to level 11. And going into the final territory, we can see we have 35 additional unlocks. So there's quite a bit of gear in Reaper of Souls just from these 2 levels on the Mystic. So you're looking at a spread of 10 levels and plenty of different gear options for any kind of look you may want. So 35 new options, and it says Pants and Helm can be enchanted. Now, I could have sworn... Nope. Yeah, Pants and Helm. Final level for those 2. 50,000 gold this time around. And yet another Death's Breath. But thankfully, only 1 each. So to level up to final level, you only need 2 Death's Breath and 50,000 gold. Of course, this does grant us yet another achievement and a sigil this time around. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the final look for the Mystic, and altogether, the price you will pay to get to level 12 is 226,000 gold and 2 Death's Breaths. Not bad, very simple, probably the easiest one yet again. We are at the max rank at this point. There is nothing else we can do. So to kind of give you an idea of what the final tier of things look like, you can see just this one-handed weapon has a ton of options. Pages upon pages of one-handed options available. Some of them very cool looking. Go ahead and look at different helmets real quick. If you ever wanted a set, or look for a set, couldn't find them, or couldn't find them in the stat that you wanted, now you can have it. A very cool system, and I'm glad to see them implement. Alright, that is it for the Mystic. Hopefully that's been informative. There was a bit more here than just looks, and of course wanted to go a little bit into the theory of transmog, or sorry, not transmog, into the theory of enchanting your items. Because there are some important points there when it comes to gear. Because not all pieces of gear are created equal. And so you want to know where they are, which stats are going to have them. And this is a big start for that. This is a great tool for that. Because you will always know. If you don't remember any of this, you can always find out. right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This has been the Crafting Corner for the Mystic, going from level 1 all the way up to level 12 in an instant. I'm KageKaze. Thanks for watching. It's been a pleasure.